Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to discuss some of the legends we need to see make their debut or make their return to MLB The Show. With Barry Bonds possibly making an appearance and Manny Ramirez already confirmed to debut this year as well, I wanted to identify other players who I think the community would love to see in this year's game. Let me know on who else you think I left out in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like so the algorithm can share it with more people and we know to keep producing this content for you guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and let's get into it. So starting us off as my preferred choice for the new legend would be Tim Lincecum. Throughout the late 2000s and the early 2010s, he was a dominant force on the mound, amassing over 1,500 innings in just his first 8 seasons. Lincecum has always been one of my favorite pitchers from my childhood and would be an amazing addition as a Cy Young award-winning card or a flashback card to one of his great all-star seasons. Next up should be one of the more obvious picks for this year, and that is Ichiro. With his recent induction to the Hall of Fame this past month, the time is perfect to see a Hall of Fame card for him throughout the year. This is definitely a more likely outcome than some of the people on this list, but him not appearing since his playing days in 2019 has been way too long for his awaited return. The next player you will either love or hate, and it is one of the most controversial players on and off the field, and it only seems right to add the all-time hits leader in Pete Rose to the rotation. Whether you still believe that he should be barred from the game of baseball for life, or you think he deserves a seat in the Hall, with his passing this past year, adding him as a legend would be a great step in the right direction. With players who directly cheated to improve their ability in the game with steroids and other stuff already in the game, it does seem that the distaste to once dishonored players seems to be softening in these recent years. In the same vein of banned players who could see a potential acquittal by professional baseball, Shoeless Joe Jackson would be an amazing legend to see in this year's game. Getting banned over a century ago due to the Black Sox scandal of 1919, he was eventually acquitted in court, but was still banned from the game of baseball. With gambling becoming less taboo, and if Pete Rose or Barry Bonds, two of the most notoriously disliked players, make the return, it could open the door to see this legend's return down the road. These next three are all 90s and early 2000 players who could realistically be added this season, and the very first would be Tim Wakefield. One of the very first times I ever heard of what a knuckleball was through one of his pitching starts years ago. SES has always been against the use of that pitch, but with it creeping back into prominence with Matt Waldron using it to great effect last season, it will have to be included in this year's game. So what better time to reintroduce this Red Sox great back into the mix than this year? Next up, we have Hideki Matsui. Fitting both in the 90s player and an international player, he could hit 2 birds with 1 stone. Since the influx of Japanese pitching, it would be great to have a prominent hitter from the country as well. Along with this, it seems that SCS is leaning heavily into the Red Sox versus Yankees rivalry this season. With a long-awaited reveal of Roger Clemens alongside Manny Ramirez, it would make sense that we see Matsui among other Yankees greats this year. And with an amazing nickname like Godzilla, I'm sure SCS is chomping at the bit to get him in as a nickname card alternate for this year's game like we've seen in years past. And if I'm talking about with players with public poor opinion and all-time Yankees greats, then A-Rod is another player who we could see get a card this season. With SDS leaning so heavily into Derek Jeter last season, with little to no mention of his battery mate in A-Rod, it felt like we were missing a huge portion of the story. So this season, I could feel that they could correct that and add him to the game this season so they could fill out that roster. And how can we make this video without the mention of the home run king? I alluded to his addition this year in the intro, but SCS has still yet to confirm his involvement in MLB The Show 25, so we are still waiting. Whether you loved or hated Bonds, it still doesn't deny the fact that he was once one of the best, if not the best, pure hitters in the game and has been a prominent force in the great story of baseball. Whether we see him as an all-time Pirates great or during his prime seasons in San Francisco, he more than deserves to be added to the lineup. And with that, that'll do it for us. This list is by no means all the players who deserve or could be in the game this year, but I wanted to leave it open to you all on who you think should be in it. Let me know who you think I left out, and if you feel like it, let me know the type of card you think they deserve in this year's Diamond Dynasty. But anyways, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed, and stick around for more content down the road, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And a huge shout out to Chris, our very first premium channel member. Thanks for all your support, man. It's really appreciated.